Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things could get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend, Bay Area comedian Catherine Cyr. I'm having her back on the show today just to have a random chat. Nothing really set or structured. Probably comment on this quarantine situation. And yeah, so that's probably just about it. I love talking to Catherine, as you've heard in previous podcasts. She has no filter, and she's down to talk about just about anything, and she's a lot of fun. She's a great lady overall. I really enjoy her. And yeah, so here is my new interview with Catherine Cyr.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, to be perfectly honest, we've got an elderly dog,
Mm-hmm.
and we thought we were going to have to put him down last week, and he's doing better, but it takes a lot of time, and we're up and trying to help him go to the bathroom and things like that, so. It was so funny last week, though, because I was like, oh, it's Mother's Day. Are you sure you're not going to be busy? So,
Yeah.
last week, yeah. But how have you been?
I've been going through the motions like usual, but things have been great with this podcast. I've been getting people I never fucking thought I would ever get in a million years and stuff. Last Saturday, I interviewed Dean from Jen and Dean, and I couldn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was insane, and he was great. I had a great time talking to him.
Yeah, he's the one that was in the accident, right?
No, that was Jan. He died about 15 years ago or so.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, I thought he had died, but, what a comeback that he had after, such a terrible accident.
Yeah, but, yeah, Dean told me they were never the same again, and he misses the old...
Oh, yeah.
He misses the old Jan before the accident, He was just a different guy after that, but they had an incredible journey, I have to say.
I had a cousin that was nearly killed. He was hit by a car on Fifth Avenue in New York. That's where my dad's sister lived. And unfortunately, I have never seen David, but he came to the house one time, and I was up here. I'm from Southern California, you know that, right?
Yes.
And he had told me, he says, oh, yeah, he's like, you can see that he was severely injured as a child, and so it physically affected him all his life. But, he doesn't seem to let it slow him down, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Wish I got to meet him, though, and then that one time, and I met his sister, and she lives in D.C., and I've gone to see her, and,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is interesting. Nobody knows what anybody goes through until,
Too late.
It's like you're a walking miracle, too.
Oh, yeah. Every day I'm reminded of that. Yeah. But how are you holding up in this clusterfuck overall?
Oh, I'm doing actually okay. I work for a state university, right?
Yeah.
And so I love my kids very much. And we just did a viral, we did Zoom and did a graduation, and they emailed all of us that could you write down, we got all the kids to submit a photo of themselves. Some of them we already had. But we wanted, photos with them with their cap and gowns. But we've done publicity photos for them as well. So we were supposed to be doing opening Footloose when the shelter-in-place came.
Mm-hmm.
The kids were ready to go, and it kind of sucked. They were like, we were trying to think of different ways we could do it before the shelter-in-place came in.
Yeah.
Because then it turned into no gatherings of 100 or more people and things like that. So we were like, let's just their parents see them or something. But It never came to be. But anyway, so I've been working from home ever since then. I do get to go into work every so often because I just work better there, even though I've got a nice setup here. I was talking to one of the, higher up administration people.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, yeah, everybody's working harder and getting less done. I said, I would completely agree with that. I'm working a lot harder and less productive. When I'm in the office, completely different. But at home, I've got the 2 dogs who both have to be with me and the parrot. And when I'm trying to work, I have to try to make sure the dogs have room to go back and forth behind me. That's what they both like to do.
Yeah.
They're both a little clingy, and then when I want to back up my chair, I have to make sure I'm not going to hit a paw or something, So, and I was going to put, we have Tim's got his own office. I'm using the guest bedroom. And his office is not really fit for anybody to work in right now. But at any rate, he's like, well, maybe we should do this or that. And I'm like, no, I think I'm going to keep it this way because I can close the door if I really need to get down to business.
Yeah.
The dogs will deal. They don't cry. They're silent. That's the weirdest thing about both of them.
Yeah.
We had Bear for 4 years, and we got him when he was 8, and he's doing great. But the little one, we went to Luttville a year and a half ago to find him a buddy because he just loves other dogs so much. He loves people, too. They both do. And we found this mellow guy, because that's exactly how Bear is. He's just, everybody's like, how come he's so laid back? I'm like, ask him.
Yeah.
So we got this little guy, and we hadn't even had him for a week. I was walking him down the street, and he started to cry. And I'm like, what the... So we turned around and went back to the house. Only like 3 houses away from the house. And he was limping, and I thought, okay, maybe he did something. Nope. His previous owners had let him get 20 pounds overweight.
Mm-hmm.
And the rescue got 10 pounds off of him. We got another, I think we got 12 now off of him. So he's at a good weight, but he had torn his ACL and ruptured his meniscus.
Yeah.
So the other thing was, his Bill told us he's got bad dental disease, and they partner with our vet, which is good, so they would cover that. So we took him in, and he had to have 12 teeth removed. I was so upset.
Oh.
And it's because the previous owners didn't take care of his teeth. I brushed their teeth. And my cousin one time, a different cousin, was over here, and she's like, you actually brushed their teeth? I said, oh, yeah. I talked to the vet, and they recommend. I was doing it like twice a week, and they're like, try to do it every day if you can. So I also use dental wipes for dogs. So I go back and forth between using the two, and their teeth are... With Bear, too, we got him. He was surrendered because he needed surgery, and the people that had him had since birth. And they had to put him under after we got him because his ears were really dirty.
Yeah.
His whole face was dirty. Everything was dirty. And I said his ears were like black with wax. I think he was an outdoor dog, or they just didn't know that you got to keep your dogs clean. So they had to put him under to get a cat tail that was way in there. I'm like, since you have to put him under, can you scale his teeth? Because they were filthy, too. He didn't lose anything, though. So anyway, we got the leg fixed, and we saw him scamper once last June, and he fell. He scampered about 8 to 10 feet and fell crying. He had ruptured the other meniscus and torn the other ACL. So we did second surgery with a different vet, and it was like $1,000 cheaper, and we thought, both of them are on expensive medication, too, so it's like, we decided to do it, and the surgery didn't go right. We were actually just there about a week ago, and I said, look, his other surgery within 3 months, he's good. Look at that leg. Thank God that leg is good. The other leg, he still can't really put all the weight on it.
Oh.
So now we're going to try a surgery consult with somebody different because they're kind of dancing over there. Like, well, it could be this, it could be that. I'm like, it's his leg. I have to help him up. And we're both kind of pissed off. So at any rate, they did do x-rays, and then we got home, and he was out of it because they have to sedate him. Otherwise, he won't hold still at all. He doesn't like to be on his back or sometimes on his side. So they had to put him under, and it wasn't last Sunday, but the Sunday before, he got up and he couldn't walk. And I'm like, he's still woozy from the being put under.
Mm-hmm.
As the day progressed, then he started crying nonstop. So we rushed into emergency at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got home at about 6 or so, and they were like, they told us, we need to talk to your other vet. They're going to be opening up in a couple hours. We don't want to medicate him anymore because he's on narcotics for his arthritis. So we're kind of like, okay, we get it. Nonstop crying. I got to the vet the next day, got his medication bill. That helped. But then my husband figured he kind of started massaging him, because then the crying started up again. We had like a couple nights of no sleep. And we started doing hot and cold packs on his back. And we figured that maybe when they x-rayed him, they tweaked his back. But at first we were like, last Wednesday, I'm like, he can't go on like this. It's nonstop crying, and he's clearly in pain, and then he just stopped. But it was like the hot and cold packs and rubbing his back, that's what he needed, and he's fine now, for the most part, except for the leg. So basically, we've just been on, and I had to do my final project for grad school was due on the 4th. And I barely finished it in time because the final weekend, it was all dealing with him. And so we thought at first we might have to put him down, and looks like he's going to be around for, a couple more months, maybe. Yeah, I mean, he is 15, so,
Yeah. Wow.
We have to find out if they can even do the surgery, and if it's even worth it, because he'll have 3 months of recovery. After about 8 weeks, it usually starts to feel pretty good, though. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, last October we got ourselves a cat. This harpy that my mom met in AA, she was giving away kittens, and we got this one. Her name at the time was Laverne, but we call her Cinnamon now. And she has got personality. I have never seen a cat with such personality. She is just a sweet girl. She can be ferocious, though, because she's part Bengal. And she can do things like she can open my door when it's closed all the way and come in and, look through the window. She's strong and she's smart. And we call her hoe bag because she's always laying on her back, always posing sexy and stuff. And
this is what Bear does all the time too. He's always on his back, but he makes weird faces at me.
Yeah.
I'm working. He'll hold the weird face until I see it and start laughing. But they're all interesting, and they all have different personalities, and they're just like people. Some are smarter than others. It's not their fault.
Exactly. Yeah. She's just been just nothing but joy since she's been here and stuff. And I'm glad we got her because we were due. We hadn't had a cat since we lost everything in 2013, so we were due for a cat, But I think with this whole pandemic that's going on and stuff, I think it's going to be good for us because since 9/11, everyone has just been greedy and selfish and just not a good person. I think this is very humbling to a lot of people. I'm just worried about my future, though, because I've come such a long way in the last 5 years. I just hope that this is the end of I hope this is not the end of everything.
I don't think it is. I just think that the Spanish flu came through here, which is interesting because that was the one in 1918 that actually originated in the Midwest in Kansas. They isolated it, and basically some young men came from that town by train, not knowing that they were infected, to go to boot camp on the East Coast. And then, of course, they're at boot camp, and everybody gets sick, and then everybody went to fight World War I. So it has two things going on. People moving around in large groups, and then, of course, the poor men in the trenches were decimated by it. And then they actually closed San Francisco down before. Unfortunately, when they reopened it up, the wave came through in 3 waves. And by the time they'd figured out what it was, in some places, like Philadelphia, was supposed to be doing a huge parade for war bonds. And they expected, I don't know, I guess with everybody there, close to 500,000 people. And they decided to do it. And it decimated Philadelphia.
Wow.
So other towns, after that happened, realized that they had to close everything down. So this is not the first time this country has done that. The funny thing is, there's the bird. The funny thing is, we did have a depression in, what was that, 28 with the crash?
Yeah.
So 10 years later, they deal with a crash unrelated to the other incident. And of course, we had our crash in 2008. And
many crashes.
There were a couple years where things, were slowed down, but we made it through the Spanish flu. Pandemics are nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that we all travel back and forth, and they still have people that are spreading tuberculosis on planes and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Not that I'm an infectious disease expert. Hold on one second.
Okay.
The guy needs to get up. We call him the little guy, 52 pounds, but hey. And that's why I'm on my speakerphone, too. I never know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Okay, good job. He needs to do this. Okay. The other thing is, I found if I lay my phone flat or hold it flat, I keep dropping calls at the house.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Shit.
All right, we're headed for the front door.
Yeah, on Wednesday, my brother gets out of rehab. He's been there since November. He had an episode back in September. We had to have him locked up for a while, and then he went to rehab. And he called my mother last night and said, just to give you a heads up, I'm going to be making a speech at graduation. I'm going to be saying stuff you never heard before, and it's going to be bad, in from her point of view. And I'm anticipating what it's going to be, We do.
You said he was an addict, right?
Well, an alcoholic, yes.
Oh, alcoholic. Well, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I've heard some terrible things, that have happened when people are drunk. So, that stands to reason.
Yeah. And then in about 2 or 3 weeks, my mom has her second shoulder surgery. She's going to be out of it for like 5 months or so. It's going to be pretty extensive ever since she took that fall last year. The first surgery she had, it didn't work at all. And so she's got a new doctor down here and stuff because she was in the Bay Area when she had her surgery because it happened up there. But I'm very hopeful and optimistic that she's going to be okay with it. And back in November, I went to the doctor, found out my blood sugar was pretty high, and so I had to go on a diet. I've lost 24 pounds so far, and I got to keep going. I went back to the doctor 3 weeks ago, and everything was looking good. I just got to keep going. And I was pretty sick last week. I got tested for COVID, and I don't have it, thank God.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just still remember when I was thinking about you, too, because it's the husband's birthday today. I'm going to go get on the cupcakes, but I'm a sugar fiend, and I need to get it out of my diet. I've done it before.
Yeah.
It's been years. I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was down almost 10 pounds. But, a couple pounds straight back up, but I'm not going to give up.
No, that's good. Yeah, don't give up. I mean, at the end of the day, sacrifice is what causes success. And then once you have the success, then you can play around just a little bit with it, but also maintain, all that weight that you lost.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I want back is my muscle too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty lucky. I was always one of those skinny kids.
Yeah.
But I think it was about when thyroid crapped out when I was 27 that I still never really had much of a weight gain.
Mm-hmm.
But that's changed. I guess I met him when I was 36, and I was still in pretty good shape at 40. It was somewhere around the mid-40s that it started creeping up.
Yeah. Could have been worse. You could have had Crohn's disease.
I'm sorry, what? One more time?
I said it could have been worse. You could have gotten Crohn's disease. Because...
Oh, yeah. No, it's genetic. My dad had it. His brother had it. So I'm my dad if he was a chick, so it's really funny.
Yeah.
Too many of my mom's features, but she was a diabetic, and complications of a mild heart attack, basically it's called acute respiratory distress syndrome, which killed her. Which is the end stage of this particular version of SARS, is what the coronavirus is.
Yeah.
So she did not have that, but she had backup fluid in the lungs until she was on the ventilator. And normally that happens to elderly people. My mother was only 53.
Mm-hmm.
And she died 3 days after she turned 54 on May 31st. And it's funny because now this whole year has been really weird for me because 3 days after my birthday last year, I had outlived her.
Mm-hmm.
And if I get to June 8th, then I'll be turning 55, which she never got to do. So it's funny. It's been messing with my head a little bit, but then drive on, right?
I'll be 37 June 6th. I'm already going through a midlife crisis.
Don't let it. Yeah, I think I started to get through one a little bit. I don't know. When my dad died, I got this crazy idea. We have a horse property right behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And the neighbor has like corrals. She's got 2 barns. And I started getting this idea that maybe I should get a horse. And if you take away even the cost of the horse, just say it costs nothing. I don't have the time for a horse.
Yeah.
I barely got time for the pets I have and everything else. So that was my midlife crisis. That was when I was 47. But I think it had a lot to do with my dad dying too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we just lost Fred Willard yesterday.
I saw, he's a great comedic actor, or he was.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I'll never forget that Saturday Night Live sketch he did where him and Lorraine Newman just had sex, and she gets a phone call from some other guy that she has sex with, hinting that she's a prostitute. But then as it turns out, Fred Willard is just a pizza man. That's a classic skit.
That's a long time ago. I don't remember him on Saturday Night Live, but...
Yep, he hosted right when Fernwood Tonight was on.
Wow. I like that show. I even like the new one. I know some people have never watched it since the 70s, but I'm like, well, you missed out on Wayne's World. You missed out on so many fun things,
Yeah. Wayne's World. Yeah, I love Wayne's World.
Yeah, my dad could be a really funny guy. Like, my brother had a CD by Joe Biafra.
Yeah.
From the Dead Kennedys. And, oh my God, my dad just thought this guy was the greatest. I think it's called I Blow Lines for a Living.
Yeah, my dad...
And then he started kind of getting into Metallica a little bit. And then my dad, he used to listen to Kevin and Bean on K-Rock, and they started doing these really funny CDs. And I was telling one of my friends that did promotions down there. I said, oh yeah, my dad's like getting close to 80, and he still asks me about Kevin and Bean. I'm like, but yeah, he could be really funny. He decided he liked U2 also, and I can remember he says, will you take me to U2 concert? I said, sure, not a problem, but my dad doesn't like crowds. He's like, well, is he crowded? And I'm like, I'm afraid so. And I never did take him to U2 because he just doesn't like crowds.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah.
And,
how's school going?
well, I didn't finish the projects on May 4th, and looks like I'll get a couple of A's again. My husband's so funny. I said, well, maybe I'm getting a B. And he's like, B. I'm like, oh, shut up. But this particular semester, we switched from quarters to semesters, I had to take some of the beginning classes that I missed because it's only my first year in grad school.
Mm-hmm.
And, these courses were okay. For whatever reason, we have to take leadership courses. And I'm like, why? And I actually am leader-type strong personality person.
Yeah.
I can head projects, but I also, for instance, last semester, I was in a group doing a project, and I could tell the other person was very much a leader-type person, so I backed off. I can definitely do that. I don't have to be in charge, and if I feel it's important to another person, you have to be able to kind of, otherwise you're just going to have conflict, and what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so I could follow. I have no problem with that either. My ego, is not such that I have to be in charge.
Yeah.
So, although I will say I have been in projects where I'm like, oh my God, these people don't know what they were doing, and we had to do this presentation. And this one, basically I did most of the work on the project. And this one girl started to go off on one thing, and I said, no, that's actually, I had to stop her because I'm like, actually, that's not correct. And I corrected her because I'm like, whoa, you about to make us look really stupid here. And another time, another guy decided that we had a target market. And I'm like, no, the target market, I gave them two options for that group. I said, would you guys like to study the cruise industry or the live concert industry? Mm-hmm. And they chose the cruise industry. So the guy gets up there and he goes, so our target market was cruise ships. And I'm like, no, that's just not the target market
Yeah.
So I corrected him. And his English was very bad, so I rewrote his portions of the slides for him and his part of the report. So I'm like, yeah, these sentences are horrible. But again, he was very smart. It's just that English wasn't his first language,
Exactly.
So he had his books, I think his books were in Chinese, and he did great, but when it came to speaking English, he could get confused a little bit. Nice person, though.
Mm-hmm.
The campus were very diverse, so that is something I enjoy anyway. I mean, I'm from Los Angeles, so it's like I get a few friends up here that are from different countries, and they'll say something to me. I'm like, look, I'm not from the middle of Arkansas. I'm from Los Angeles. You understand that, right? I was from some Hickstown in the middle of God only knows where. I probably wouldn't have been exposed to this stuff, but I'm like, So I'm sure if you look at my Facebook page too, it's very diverse. But I'm just lucky to have a lot of friends from a lot of different backgrounds. So.
Yeah. Did you do any comedy before quarantine started?
I did not, and I haven't done a gig since last April. And I was also not paying attention to my blog, and so I started setting up a reminder on my computer every few weeks to add to my blog or to look for gigs. And so the only thing I did do, that's true, is I forgot I directed and acted in the Vagina Monologues again this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a good show. Went over well, and fortunately that happened before the quarantine. So that's what I spent part of this year doing, is casting, directing, and working on the set. Simple set, but still have to get the set together. And the thing about that particular play is also good. She actually prefers it to be read on cards. And I find that to be not as impactful.
Yeah.
And so I always tell the actors, look, this is your choice because it's your character. You can't do it wrong. She doesn't want to overly rehearse, but I tell them, I'll be in there too. And I'm like, okay, this particular line, if you read it, I want you to deliver it, every so often any little guidance. because, again, I try not to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, we get people that have done parts that I've even done, and oh my gosh, they bring something different to it every time.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I like, even though it's basically the same play every year. Except this year, for whatever reason, she said that she didn't want us to do the introductions to each piece. So we're like, okay. So we took the introductions. And usually there's what they call a spotlight piece or a new piece. You know, she's like, yeah, no spotlight, no new piece this year. I'm like, all right. I let my cast read it on cards if they want to or perform it. One of them actually decided to use her cell phone for her piece. And she was just reading a factual thing. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that she didn't have it memorized, but I said, wow, I really like that delivery that you're doing with the phone. I go, that's cool. And you can also put the notes up there. I don't care. But that was just her way of changing it, you know, to her own way of doing it. And I thought that was pretty neat, too.
Mm-hmm.
The only drag about the play is she has another one that has parts for men in it. And this play, you don't have to be biologically female, but you do have to identify as female.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of don't like the exclusionary part of it, you know, where men cannot do it. I think it should be rewritten and have some monologues for men in it, you know.
Especially gay men.
Well, we have a trans piece. I've done a trans piece, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you know, I just like things to be inclusionary. There's another one called a memory, a monologue, a rant, a prayer that is for men and women, but it never sells very well. So
yeah,
I don't know why, but that's why I decided not to do it.
I gotta do theater, you know. If I could turn back 10 years, you know, I would have, you know, actually went for auditions and stuff. I still can, but just I wish 10 years ago I had pursued it and stuff. It's just in high school, all the theater kids were all rich snobs in student government and stuff. It's just, they turned me off from wanting to be involved in theater for a long time. It wasn't until I was 30 I started, you know, volunteering for theater companies out in the Bay Area, and then I saw it from a different light than I did in high school, you know, and it wasn't as snobby as it was, you know.
I don't know. But it's like anything else. You're gonna run into people with big egos in places you won't expect it. So, have you heard of Theater Bay Area?
Theater Bay Area, I probably have. I can't place it.
Well, it's an online magazine, and they do classifieds, and obviously right now things are not going very well for any theater company. And it looks like live performances will not come back. But starting, you know, early next year, you should subscribe. And they've got auditions, they've got workshops on resumes, they've got workshops on so many different things. And
you really think it won't come back?
It costs a little bit of money, but the thing is just, you know, let yourself get out there, or I'm sure you have a local theater community where you live.
Yeah, but they're terrible.
Well, that's okay, because the way they get better is by working.
No, I mean personality-wise, they're all these young millennial social justice woke warriors and stuff, and they got offended at some improvs I did in an acting class and stuff, and so I just don't bother with them, you know. And plus, I'm still planning on trying to move to LA. I'm still set on that. I just don't know when it's going to happen with this quarantine.
Yeah, well, LA is cheaper than here. Not by much, but still cheaper.
Do you really think that live performances are gone now?
Oh, yeah. It looks like for the whole rest of the year.
For the year, but not permanently.
Broadway has decided to not start up in the fall.
Yeah.
And I got that word at work. And then the chancellor's office for CUC, the CFGs, not PUCs, has said for fall, all the classes are going to be online unless what that means is the athletics teams, our dance department, and our theater department, how can you practice if they want all the classes to be online? So there is an exception that will be granted for lab classes, but we still have to have everybody at least 6 feet apart. Well, you can't play basketball that way, you know. You can't play volleyball that way.
Right.
So our athletic teams are about to really get decimated, really. That's the only word I can use. Unless they decide that they're part of the exception. And our dance classes and our theater classes, same thing. So we're waiting to find out what the exceptions will be.
Yeah.
But it looks like we were supposed to do 2 plays starting, one was supposed to open in October, I think, or November. And then we had another one that was going to be November, and another performance in December. And they're pretty sure that none of them are going to be able to happen. So everything is in flux right now. But you got to remember, too, we're coming up on June. So we're talking about 6 more months here. It's not the end of the world, you know.
Right.
Great. You know.
Yeah.
And this thing will go away. I mean, even if it comes back in 3 waves like the Spanish flu did, it will go away. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, it hasn't been overnight.
and in 20 years, another one's probably going to show up. You know, I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
You know?
What would you say, Catherine, is your best personality trait?
Oh, I'm very outgoing.
I agree. Mine is my sense of empathy and the fact that I have no filter.
You don't have a filter, that's true.
Yes, which I wanted to ask you and stuff. During this whole pandemic and stuff, how was sex between you and your husband?
Well, being that I am, how old am I now? I'm 54. And happy number 52, dear. Happy new. He's like, you know, when you get older, it's not as easy as when you were younger. I'll just put it to you that way. So.
Oh.
But we're both we're happy. And, you know, neither one of us has to be in control of the relationship. I've never understood that. You know, I remember seeing this thing, and this man's like, well, if she's in control, then you're not in control, and you have to be. And I'm like, why? Who? What? I've never lived that way. And we make each other laugh a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, May is International Masturbation Month, and I had given it up for Lent this year for the 7th year in a row. I don't think I'm going to do it next year or ever again because the first couple of weeks of quarantine was lonely. All I was doing was lots of podcasting and smoking weed. That was it. And I've been having a lot of people come on the show this month and tell masturbation stories. Do you have any?
Sadly, no. I was going to say, you know, I use gummies to help me sleep, and it's pretty good if you can try to not smoke, because that's not good for you.
Yeah, I've got to cut back and stuff because my lungs were compromised during that accident, you know, and I need to cut back definitely on that. But yeah, this is definitely the last year that I'm giving that up for Lent and stuff.
Well, like I said, though, you can get gummies. You don't have to smoke. So if you require it for any reason, like I need it to fall asleep.
Right.
So I just get my gummies, and you know, sometimes I have some weird dreams or some weird thoughts. You know, like I don't know. I'll be waking up thinking I'm going to take some paperwork to somebody that doesn't exist or something. You know what I mean? It's like I'll wake up and be like, I got to get those papers. And I'm like, you were dreaming, Nimrod. There's no papers in the bedroom that you have to take somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I'll be thinking to myself, I can't think of anything now, but it's like stupid stuff, like really stupid, like the blue cup needs to go in the cupboard at the neighbor's house, just strange things, but they're pretty funny,
Mm-hmm.
but again, there's worse things to dream about. I do hate it when I have nightmares. I had one not so long ago that I had killed my husband's uncle, their dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like him, actually, which is funny. In the dream, I killed him, and they were all upset, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I had to kill him because, I threatened his life, and then he decided he was going to kill me before I could kill him, and just all this, and then, of course, the dream changes. No, he committed suicide. I had nothing to do with it, and my cousins are all still upset with me, and I'm like, thinking, am I going to go to prison? Things like that, and as I said, I do not care for him, but, it's just because he's now, my aunt divorced him a while back, but he's just kind of, I don't know what his issues are. When his granddaughter was getting married, his own daughter got really upset with him. He's remarried, and the night before the wedding, they had everybody over to her house for a barbecue. And he said that, he didn't want to come by because they'd just gotten into town and he was tired.
Right.
Next day, the new wife just has this fit at the wedding because they weren't invited to the barbecue. And she's like, you were. He said he didn't want to come because he was tired. And then he starts backpedaling and saying, oh, no, I never said that. You never invited us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what are you trying to do here? So my cousins were all upset. She's like, I'm thinking about asking my dad to leave. And I'm like, why would he do that? They're like, because he doesn't want to contradict whatever. She was upset, apparently, and I guess he underestimated how upset she would be. So rather than saying, oh, I just thought this, he decided to try to blame it on his daughter. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
yeah.
Your daughter, whose daughter is getting married today, she is the mother of the bride. She's your kid, and you've decided you can't stand up to your wife and just say, sorry, I said no. And just let it go. So it blew into this whole great big thing. Again, somebody, I guess, has to be in control of that relationship. I guess it's her. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't stand it when people backpedal and stuff. It's happened to me quite a number of times, especially people I've tried to interview and stuff. It's just, it's not good. I gotta tell you though, I'm trying to remember, the day before, the week before quarantine started, a friend of mine called me up. She had one of her ovaries removed because she had some kind of a blood clot thing going on there because of her age. And she was telling me, she was crying, and she was just telling me about how bad she felt and stuff. And I made her laugh. I said, those carnivals you get? Those lollipops you get at the carnival? They're kind of like swirled on a stick.
They're like the great big colorful ones, you mean, or something?
Yeah, the rainbow lollipops. Yeah. I told her, I said, I'm sure that's what her fallopian tubes look like. And she laughed out loud, and it made her feel so much better, and I felt good.
Oh, that's good. I don't see the correlation, but that's okay. You made her laugh, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Laughter is the best medicine. We've been watching a lot of funny stuff. We did watch the thing about the 1918 pandemic, in case you're wondering how I knew so much about it. It was one of the first days of quarantine. He and I are watching this. I'm like, maybe we shouldn't watch this, but it was interesting, so we did. But we watched a lot. We did binging Scrubs a lot. I have to admit, I'm getting a little sick of it. But we've been watching, Monty Python and just different things. And I've never liked sad movies or anything like that either.
I love Monty Python. Yeah. I've been watching a lot of good stuff, and I listen to podcasts like crazy and stuff, I listen to Mark Maron a lot. You know, he just lost his girlfriend, Lynn Shelton, the other day to a blood disorder.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I actually sent him an email of condolences and telling him how much he's really influenced me on my podcast and stuff. And I hope he at least reads it, you know. And yeah, I mean, that's just this that you just never know sometimes with people when they pass away like that. You know, I've been very lucky. Nobody I know has passed away from this whole thing. But
yeah, same here. And all of my family, like my two brothers, my one younger brother that was living with us for a while, he's in San Jose now.
mm-hmm.
He decided since me and my older brother were up here and our parents are gone, he wanted to be up here. My aunt was just in Pleasanton. She's doing fine. So, you know, we're very lucky. Tim isn't working right now, but that's completely unrelated. He was just getting, you know, worked into the ground, so he left his position. He still talks to them and gives them some advising, but he's got some... I'm not allowed to talk about you. Okay. Well, I just thought I'd let you go, but I got to go out and get birthday stuff for somebody because I'm lame.
Yeah, I got a joke for you that I wrote.
Yeah, but you take good care, okay?
Oh yeah, can I tell you my joke real quick?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wrote this joke. How do you fuck your sister in a moral way?
I don't know, Tommy Ow.
You finger bang her and look away.
That's silly.
I don't have a sister, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to be a swing and a miss there.
Yeah.
Not one that I can use when I'm in the club. Is I figured out, you know, one of the things they say is you lose your sense of taste when you get this thing.
Yeah.
All I have to do is point out somebody and go, based upon your outfit, you are very sick, my friend. Or, you know, you can change it around to, oh, so you're with him, huh? Well, you must have the coronavirus.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. You lost your sense of taste. You better get checked out.
Yeah.
You can flip it different ways, obviously, but I figure I'll throw that one out, hopefully, when... I don't know if you've actually seen this stuff, too, actually, just really quick, like, Flappers in Burbank. And a few other clubs are actually doing Zoom comics.
I know.
But the problem is how do you do your jokes without an audience laughing? It's kind of funny because it's like...
I don't know.
I don't know. And I haven't had a chance to watch them, but I may have to try to put some time into it because I just want to see how they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right.
it seems like without an audience, it's going to be a little difficult. You know, like even when I watch Gabriel Iglesias or Jim Gaffigan on TV, it's always a live performance, you know, and it's just different. So,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it either. But I thank you so much, Catherine, like usual, for coming on, and talk to you again. And stay safe. Stay safe, and I hope the two of you will come out fine in this whole clusterfuck we're in.
We will. And again, so sorry. I was like, I think I'm going to take a nap. I was so tired.
It's okay.
And Tim starts waking me up. I'm like, I go, what is it? Is it close to 1? He goes, no, it's 2. And I'm like, son of a... And then I hear my phone going off in the other room. I don't know why I didn't hear it ring at all. So terribly sorry about that. So anyway, alrighty. Well, you take good care, okay?
All right. Love you, hun. Have a great day.
All right, Tommy. All right, take care.
Okay. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Catherine Cyr. Ain't she a sweetheart? I love Catherine. She is so awesome. There's no other way else to put it. She is the real deal. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Till next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.